We're starting Chapter 8, which looks at the surface area and volume of three-dimensional shapes. So go ahead and write this down in your notebook. Remember, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause, and when you're ready to move on, go ahead and move on. You don't need to keep up with me. You can pause me. So we're going to look at Section 1 of Chapter 8, so 8.1, three-dimensional figures. So please go ahead, write that in your notebook. So we need to know what a three-dimensional figure is. So a three-dimensional figure that encloses a space is called a solid. So go ahead and write that down in your notebook and know that we're defining what a solid is. So what are some characteristics of our three-dimensional shapes that we need to know? So you're going to write these down. Again, if I go too fast, go ahead and pause me. So we want a face, which is our flat surface. So the face on my diagram, so the pink, you could actually say the pink here, right here on the bottom, so that's a face. So that's a face, and the pink down here is also a face. What are some other characteristics of our solid that we need to know? We need to know what the edge is. So an edge is a line segment where two faces intersect. So we want to look to see where those two pink faces intersect. So an edge is going to be these lines right here. So that would be an edge. And remember, the pink surface or the flat surfaces that we had, that's a face. So all of these sides would be faces. I could color them all in, but then you wouldn't see much. So we need to know face, and you need to know edge. Okay, there's one more term that we're going to add. And that term is the vertex. So the vertex is a point where three or more edges intersect. So on my drawing here, that would be a vertex. And since there's more than one, there's a lot of vertices. We have quite a few here, and we have quite a few on the bottom. So again, just to recap, we have faces, which are the flat surfaces. Okay, so this pink is a flat surface. This pink is a flat surface. We have a lot of flat surfaces. An edge is a line segment. So this was my edge. So I would like you to draw the pictures and label what is an edge, label the vertex, and please label a face. So make sure those are in your notes. When you're ready to move on, hit play so we can move on. So in this example, you're going to copy this down into your notebook. I want to find the number of faces, edges, and vertices. So let's first look at how many faces we had. So we had pink to be our faces before. So I can count, the bottom is 1. Then we have this side, that's 2, this side 3, this side 4, this side 5, this side 6, and then the top gives me 7 faces. How many edges do I have? Well, let's look at the edges. I'll make those red again. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have this one in back. That's 5. Then we have the top, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the bottom, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, if I did that correctly. How many vertices do we have, or how many corners do we have? So let's count the vertices. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5. Should I have the same on the top? I should. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 10 vertices. So make sure you copy that down into your notebook. Make sure you understand how to count the faces, the edges, and the vertices. Again, you can pause the video. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and move on. Okay, so now you're going to do this one on your own. So you're going to copy this down into your notebook. Copy the whole picture, the question, everything into your notebook. And then you're going to tell me how many faces, how many edges, and how many vertices. Once you've written that in your notebook, you should see a text box on the right, and you're going to enter your answer into the text box on the right. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and move on. Okay, we're going to take some more notes. So we're going to compare a prism to a pyramid. Well, how can I tell the difference? So you're writing this down in your notebook, and we'll draw the pictures later, so just write down the notes. So first I want to look at the base. What shape is the base? So the base is the bottom. Is it a triangle? Is it a rectangle? Is it a square? Could be a circle, could be a hexagon, could be a pentagon. There's so many different shapes. So you're going to look to see what shape the base is. And then, is there more than one base? Okay, so if no, you have a pyramid. And if yes, you have a prism. So I'm going to point that out in my picture over here that I have. So the base, remember, you're looking at the bottom. So if I look at the base of this one, it's a triangle, so that's why it's a triangular. And I have two bases exactly the same. So is there more than one base? Yes. So I'm going to name this a triangular prism. Let's look at the other example. So this also has a triangle for the bottom. You just can't see it, but it still has a triangle for the bottom. But it doesn't have another one on the top. It just goes to a point. So is there more than one base? No. So that makes this a pyramid. So again, if I have more than one base, I have a prism. If I only have one base, I have a pyramid. You know, like the pyramids in Egypt. So go ahead and write all those down. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and move on. Okay, so we're going to practice drawing, even though I've asked you to draw already. We're going to practice drawing. So here are my two steps. So the first thing I want to do, I want to draw a rectangular solid. So the first thing I want to draw two rectangles off kilter from each other a little bit. So here's my rectangle. I'm going to draw my other rectangle here. Okay, so that's what I did first. And now I want to connect the vertices. So the ones in the back, I'm going to do dotted lines. So I'm going to make this the front. So this is the top of my box. Now this is going to be the back of my box. So I want those to be dashed lines. Now the back of my box back here, I also want this to be dashed lines because it should be behind my box. So that's how I can draw a rectangular solid. So go ahead and try that. Put that in your notes. We're probably going to practice that some more. Now I want to draw a triangular solid. So again, here are my directions. So we're going to follow with the directions. So it says first draw a triangular base. I'm going to draw a triangular, whoops, I had my eraser. I'm going to draw a triangular base, triangle. And then I want a point above it. Just put a point up here. Just put a dot. Now I'm going to connect the vertices to the black line. So here's connecting. Here's connecting. This one I'm going to make it go behind, so I'm going to make it dashed. So some of the triangle is also going to be in the back. So I'm going to erase part of that to give it dashed lines. So there is my triangular solid. So again, go ahead and draw this. Put this in your notes. Make sure you have the steps on how to do this. And we're going to probably practice some more. So when you're ready to move on, move on. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so in your notebook, you're going to draw a square prism. So remember what that means. So the bottom has to be a square. Oops. Mrs. Miller might want to practice drawing squares. So I want a square. So, and I need to connect it to the top. So that's not going to work if I do it like that. I need to draw them off a little bit from each other. So practice drawing those. Remember to connect your lines, make some of them dashed, some of them solid, so the ones behind are going to be dashed. Then I want to draw a pentagonal pyramid. I'm going to make you look that up. What is a pentagon? How many sides to a pentagon? And then remember, it's a pyramid, so the pyramid means I'm going to put a dot on the top. So I want to see those in your notebook when I see you in class tomorrow. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. When you're ready to move on, hit play. Okay, so here's my summary. So you're going to write that in your notebook. So summary. Remember, a prism has two bases. So here's a bunch of examples of prisms. Triangular, right there's my triangle. Square, rectangular. Oh, there's the pentagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. Hexagonal prism, octagonal. If it's a pyramid, remember it only has one base and it goes to that triangle at the top, the point to top. And to name it, remember you look at the shape of the base. So pentagonal pyramid means it has 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how we name things. So make sure this is all in your notebook. If you want to just draw some of these, like know what a square is, a rectangle, a pentagon, a hexagon, octagon. If you want to draw some of those in your notebook, that'd be great. Tomorrow we'll work some of these problems during class.